Hello everybody, welcome to my studio. My name is Lonna Lamb and I am an acrylic artist. Thanks so much for being here today. I just wanted to come and bring you a super quick ornament that you can paint up so fast and personalize or create something fun on it, whatever you need for a really quick ornament to give somebody. These ornament shapes, this stocking, came from CD Wood. I will link that below so that you have the link if you want to use this same particular stocking shape. It's a super fun shape. I've just created a bunch of different colors here for my family, and I have personalized some so that you know, they can have their own personal little stocking ornament. Love the colors, just simple basic colors. You don't need anything special. I used the color that I base coated it with. I used white. I had a little bit of black to mix with my base color so I could get a darker color for shading, and that was it. Just those three basic colors, whatever color you decide to paint it, white and a little bit of black. So I'm going to show you that on this stocking. I've already painted the back side. Now on the back of these I've already signed all of them. They're all completely varnished. I did put the year up here at the top, and yeah, they were just super fun, super cute, something a little bit different. It's a new stencil on my website that I created or had in the works creating several months ago, but just finally got it done to do these stockings, because I knew I wanted, when I bought these ornaments way back in March or something, I knew I wanted to do the stocking stuff on, the like the fuzzy sweater type thing on it. So I hadn't created my stencil yet, so I got that created and it is on my website. Just use some kind of matching ribbon that goes with each ornament, but you could use just all white here as well. And then these two are just plain, nothing on top of them. They're still adorably cute. If you do not want to personalize them, have anyone specific you want to give them to, so they don't have to be personalized. This one I'm not going to personalize, and we're going to paint this side of it and finish it out. So I'm going to do something a little bit different on top. It will still have the stripes, but then I'm going to do something different above the stripes. So the colors that I will be using are festive green and leaf green mixed together, because the festive green, very transparent, but I love the brightness of the color. So we're going to mix these two to get a more opaque bright green. That's what I did on the back, a more Christmassy green there. And then I've got my white and my black. So those are the colors we're going to use today. And I used 5 paintbrushes. I used a stencil brush to stencil. This is my shading brush, 1/2 inch angle. I used this is a 16 flat to just base coat. It's just an old brush, a 2 or 3 round, I don't know what size that is, and then a detail liner, 10-0 detail liner. That's to help get that thinner line above that wider line. So these are just going to be used to create the lines on the top. Alright. And then of course you'll want your ribbon and whatever, and I will be varnishing mine with a satin varnish, 2 coats applied with a damp artist sponge. So first thing I want to do is figure out where my top is going to come to, and I did paint 2 extra coats of white up here so that I could see that line a little bit better, but I'll draw it out for you so you can see it. So we know right where our green is to come, just like back here, and it's okay if our waves don't match our other side, not a problem. They do not have to be matchy-matchy. So this is raw wood. I did apply my multi-purpose sealer. You guys know that I do that with every wood project and my glass projects. Multi-purpose sealer, 2 coats, and then I go in with my base coat of paint. So right now we're doing the leaf green and the festive green mixed together. And I'm just going to brush mix because, you know, I don't have a specific ratio here. I just want to get a nice bright opaque green color. That's kind of Christmassy, so I'm just going to mix the two. And it will take 2 or 3 coats depending on the opacity of your paint. So we're going to go right up here to this line. And right up here. And then we'll just paint the whole thing in. Should be a fairly quick process. Try and keep my brush strokes fairly neat. Well, not so choppy so that when I put my next layers on, it will cover up a little bit better and look more smooth. Not that we'll be seeing a lot of this in the background because it's going to be covered up with our stencil work. So let's dry this. Get you in a little bit closer here. I'm just going to give it a quick dry and apply 2 more coats to this because it's a little bit transparent. We'll see how the second coat looks, but I may need to apply a third. These are, I'm doing thinner layers so they will dry quicker. Just brush mix it and let's go in with our next coat. Make sure your surface is dry before you start painting on here after using your heat tool, because it will immediately set your paint and then you won't be able to move it. It will just be stuck right where you put it. So make sure we don't have paint oozing over our edges. Smooth that out. Give it a quick dry. We have to let that cool. I'm going to lift it up and make sure my paint is all dry. My surface is cool. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my paint this time, just because I need an incredibly thin coat on my last application here. And always make sure you check your edges that you don't have paint oozing over the edges. Okay, I'm using the tip of the brush to kind of smooth that out and clean it up. Check my edges. Make sure there's no paint oozing around the side, because we have that other side completely finished. We don't want to have to work on it again. Give it a quick dry. This really is such a fast project. I'm going to be done with this brush now, my old brush. You could also use this brush to float around the edges. If it's a decent enough brush, you could use that for floating. Alright, so next step is to start stenciling. So let's grab our stencil. I'm going to need a piece of tape to hold that on there. Alright, so I'm going to bring it up as high as I can, but to where everything is still on the stocking. That means it's not going to quite come all the way up to our little ruffle thing, but when we're done putting all of our layers on, we can lift it up and go and add a layer up here, because it's just white paint, so it will be fine. I got to move it over a little bit because my heel doesn't have anything on it. I want to make sure that I have it covered everywhere. You know, every piece of the sock has got some kind of stitching stuff on it. Okay, so I've got the sock completely covered. So we're just going to use white paint, and you can use whatever white paint that you want. Some white paints are not extremely opaque, I have found, so if you have one that is a little bit more opaque, you can certainly use that. I'm going to take a dry paper towel. I'm going to load my stencil brush with some white. I'm going to offload it just a little bit because I want to do some stipple stenciling because I want this to look like a fuzzy sock. So I've got kind of that fuzzy stuff going on in the background. And if you just go in and stencil it, it's just going to look stenciled. And I want it to have that texture. So we're going to do our first white layer. It will take 3 to 4 layers of white, but our last couple layers will just be in the center. So, and it's really a fast process. I'm getting just a small amount of paint. I'm just tapping straight up and down. This will keep me from having any bleed under, but it also gives me that fun little sweatery texture. Okay, I'm just going to go around, make sure I got some white in all of my stencil spaces. Okay, then I'm going to lift it up and take my brush, get a little bit more paint on it, and I'm going to start tapping all around this. Let's get some fuzzy texture in the background to really make it look like more like fuzzy sweater type stuff. Maybe these stockings were made out of an old sweater. I don't know. And we will be doing this a couple of times, 2 or 3 times as well. Keep that texture showing. Look how fun that is. And I'm using such a small amount of paint. This will dry super, super fast. Okay, so we've got that first little texture in there. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, let's put our stencil back down and we're going to go a second layer and we're going to do it all over the sock again. All over the entire stencil. Now if it's easier for you to just go down a row to remember where you've stenciled, although we can definitely see where we're putting our second layer, but as we build our next couple of layers, they'll be a little bit harder to determine where we've been. It's not as important really to know where those layers are, just you know, if it helps you to see where you're going, you can go down a row like this. This is just our second layer, still tapping so we can keep that texture. You don't get this texture if you do the swirling motion. You just get the smoothness. I tried it with just the swirling and it was a little too smooth for me. It wasn't the look I was really going for. Okay, let's lift that up. Oh, looks cute. Well, let's put some more little sweater stenciling around it. It's okay if your paint is still wet. That is not going to be a problem at all. We like that little fuzzy, fuzzy, fuzzy stuff going on in here. And this is where it might help to go up and down the rows so that you can remember where you've put the little fuzzy sweater stuff at. We do want to make sure we get in between those areas that are open, like in between these, so we see a little bit of fuzziness going on there. Make sure you get fuzzy up here. We're going to come back and put our stenciling in there. Okay, we've got a second layer on there. Super cute. Now this layer's still a little wet, so I do want to dry this layer, and I'm going to put my hand right here to protect my stencil. Too much heat on my stencil is going to cause it to curl, and when it curls it will no longer lay flat, and then we have bleed underneath our stencils. So we want to protect that stencil from the heat, and don't bring it over and put it on your sock until your sock is completely cool, because again it will cause the stencil to curl up. Alright, we're going to go a third time here, And this time I'm going to keep it more in the center where the brightest area will be, and we'll keep the other a little bit darker for our shading. This really is one of the fastest Christmas ornaments that you can do. It comes together so quickly depending on what details you want to add. Okay, let's lift it up, and a little bit more of the fuzzy tapping all around. We're going to do one more layer, and it's just going to be like right through the very center area. Alright, but I do want to dry that. Make sure it's dry. If you're doing a lot of these, your stencil will get buildup on it from the paint. So after about 4 socks, you will want to go clean your stencil and dry it well, and then continue on painting. Alright, let's do our last layer here, and I'm going to keep this mostly in the center, just for some bright, bright, bright stuff. Okay, that looks really good. If you feel like you still need some fuzzies, go ahead and put some in there. Maybe just in a few places this time. Let's make sure this looks like a fuzzy sweater. Okay, I'm going to remove my stencil and dry this, and then I want to move my stencil up so I can stencil right next to our cuff. So dry this. Well, let's get it cool. Don't want to put our stencil down on a hot surface. Okay, so in order to make sure you line this up right, you need to figure out exactly where your stencil laid. And then you need to move it up. We're going to just make sure we line up with our original area, and then I'm going to stencil up here at the top. Just a couple of quick little stencils just to finish that out at the top up there. Okay? Alright, so we're done with our stencil now. We're done with our stencil brush, so we can clean it. Alright, let's go ahead and put our stripes on our cuff. And they can be drying. We're just going to use that green mix, or you can use just the leaf green since it's the more opaque color of the two. And I'm just going to follow the shape here. So I'm going to start here at the edge and follow that shape. Okay. One time's really all you need to do there. Then I'm going to take my detail brush and add a little bit of water to that paint, and I'm going to paint a second line following that same detail. Okay, so we've got our 2 lines up there. I'm going to quickly dry that so I don't accidentally stick my hand in it. And then we're going to go down here and start shading on the bottom, on the sock part, just like we did back here. So I'm going to need a little bit of black. It's way more black than I need there. And you can use your large flat that you base coated with, or grab a 1/2 inch angle brush. Make sure you get the bristles good and woke up full of water, because we cannot float without water. And I'm going to spritz some water here on my plate so that I have water as I go around this if I need it. Alright, my green, a little bit of black. I'm just making a dark green here. Add a little bit of that brighter green in there so I can keep it more of a color that we used. And then we're just going to take this around the outside of the sock. Bring it around the heel a little bit wider. And of course around the toe a little bit wider. Mix a little bit more here. I think it needs to have a little bit more black in it. There we go. I like that color better. So I'll go over that other area after I get it dry. Right, a little bit there. More water. We'll go up to here. Let me dry that so I can go back around it with that little bit of darker. Got a little bit more black in it, I think. Use your water. That's going to help keep it transparent. There we go. Alright, let's go up underneath the cuff. Okay. You know, if you need to use a mop brush, soften that, you can. So basically, the bottom part of the sock is done. We're going to touch up the white up here. And on this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different so that you can see that you can be a little bit more creative if you want to take a little bit more time with your stocking. Because at this point, if you're doing it just a plain stocking like this, all you need to do is shade with your green on the outside edges. Here and here, okay? So I think I will draw me a some holly up here on the top. And maybe a few berries. Maybe I'll do a couple more leaves here. That's 4. Let's add a piece of one here. And I've got 3. I'm going to add a berry here and a berry here. Okay, so we've got a fun little cute design here. I'm going to add some Santa red to my palette here. Let me shake the bottle up a little bit. So you can do anything you want. You could put jingle bells up here. I mean, just regular bells. You can do just pine and berries. There are a lot of things that you can do with this. All right, a little bit of red. We don't need very much red here. We're just painting some little tiny berries. And we're going to take our green and paint in our holly. And they'll be pretty quick. Let's see if I can zoom you in a little bit closer so you can see this more fine detailed design. I didn't follow the shape of that one very good. And those 3 on this side are pretty close. So we'll define them with some shading. Okay, I'm going to dry that so I can just quickly get the second layer on there. You can add as little or as much detail as you want here. We're going to shade on these, and I may grab another color for a highlight here. Hope I'm keeping you on camera. It's always hard when I zoom in. Okay, some red. Let's put some red on these berries. You can just use the end of your brush to dot these as well. Oh, okay, I made that one ginormous. But that's okay. We'll just have a big one up there. Okay. I'm going to grab a light color that we can highlight with real quick. I'm going to use Citron Green to highlight on these with. It's very bright green. Okay, I'm going to dry those because I want to get another coat on those red berries. And I'm going to grab a very small flat or angle brush, probably a flat brush, very small chisel brush. It's a number 4. Alright, second coat on my berries here. Not sure why I didn't put this up on my easel today. Okay, let's do a little bit of shading. Now, when you use a small brush like this, you have to load frequently and pick up water frequently. So we're going to take our green and our black, and it's very easy to get the paint really far over on these tiny little brushes. So try to make sure that you keep the paint on that one edge. And we're going to go to the bottom of these leaves and add this dark green color. Green and black. Okay, so this one is underneath this one. And we'll put some shading here. And some at the base of this one. Okay, let's do a little highlighting. I'm going to mix that citron and that festive green together and see how well it lights up here. Put it at the tips. I'm going to have to clean up around these little guys. That's a good thing about having a solid background. It makes it a little bit easier to clean up. Okay, make sure you shape your leaves nicely. Alright, let's go to our berries while that dries because we're going to have to highlight a second time. And I'm going to mix my red and a little bit of black. Make kind of burgundy color here. And I'm just going to put this on whatever side is going to be the dark side. Let's do a little bit more on that highlight. Just the citron green this time. You can get as detailed with these as you would like to. Okay, this one's on top, so I definitely want to make sure I go back over that edge with the highlight. So we know that one's on top, and this one actually is on top of this one, so let's give a little highlight over here. I'm going to clean up around those with some white. These are small areas, so it's very easy to get out past your lines that you drew on here. And you might have to go over some areas a couple of times. It's also where you can help kind of define the shape a little bit more. And then if you need to, go along this edge again and clean it up. Make sure it's nice and crisp right along this edge. There's a lot of paint there. We'll put a little highlight on those berries, I think. I'm just going around a second time because the first time is not going to cover all those boo-boos up. Okay? You can really get that fancy with, you know, doing some other detail. I am trying to keep it still fairly simple so that it can be something quick that you can paint up. Let's put a little highlight on our berries. And then we're going to add a highlight, or add our veining. I think we'll use both greens. I still have a little bit of white on my brush. We'll see how this looks. Just a center vein. That's all we're going to do here. Didn't need it quite that fat. Okay, that looks super cute. You could put a shadow on that, whatever you want to do to it. Let's wide angle out so you can see it a little bit better. Oh, that's so cute with that on there. All right, we need to shade on the sides over here. Just our green. Just a very thin layer of this color. The color we did the stripes with. You know, you could change this up and make it a different color if you want to. Okay, just a light little float there. And now let it dry and you're ready to apply 2 coats of satin varnish to it. And you're just going to apply it with a damp sponge. Alright, on the back here, I want to put the date. Oh, I already put the date, so I don't have to worry about that. I used a paint pen That was pretty close to the same color. A Posca paint pen, extra fine point. I've got my sponge here, and I'm just going to put some varnish right here, and we'll put a couple of quick coats on here. You want to make sure your paint is dry because you don't want to smear through it. And I go off this upper edge like this so I can hold it up here. A little bit more varnish in my sponge here. And then I bring it down and smooth it out. I run my fingers along the edge to make sure there's none going over the sides. I'm going to go ahead and dry that real quick for you. We're just going to go ahead and finish this completely out. I've got my ribbon I'm going to attach to it as well. Alright, get it dry. Let's make sure it's cool. A little bit still tacky down here, so let's get that dry. Cool, cool, cool. A little more varnish. Alright, let's apply a second coat. Doing it with a sponge means you get light layers, and my sponge could have used a little bit more water in it. Let me just spritz it with some water because it's not wanting to release that varnish very well. If your sponge is not damp, it will not release your varnish. Okay, run your fingers along the edges, make sure there's nothing oozing over. Now you can let them just air dry, which I did on my other ones. I just let them air dry. It doesn't take very long for this varnish to dry. Okay, I'm going to let that cool because I know it's really hot right now. And I've got some green ribbon here. I'm going to move this out of the way. I've got some green ribbon that still looks a little tacky there, but I think we'll match this one just fine. I did try to match ribbon to my other ones, but the ones I couldn't, I just put white ribbon. I mean, I have so many assortments of ribbon, but for some reason I didn't have anything that was like a blue. So I am just going to stick this through here. This one's a little bit thinner than that other ribbon, but I think it will match nicely. I'm just going to pull it up here, cut it off. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. I want to make sure that I am straight going through this so that there's my ribbon is not twisted. I'm going to tie a knot. Try that again. So that back one was a little twisted. I'm going to tie a knot and then tie another knot. I pulled the knot down a little ways, and now I'm going to stick my finger underneath here and I'm going to pull all four of them at the same time so it creates my knot. And then I'm just going to turn it that way. I'm going to leave those tails because I think they're cute, but you can cut them off as short as you want. And then we've got a cute little ornament. How fast was that? So fast, so cute. I absolutely love how these turned out, you guys. Again, the ornaments came from CD Wood. Let's wide angle out so you can see all the colors that I made here. Colors that I painted were based on family members and the colors that they like. So I was able to give them, or I generally try to paint every year the color that they like on their ornaments. So, and then I put their names on. The ones that don't have any names are extras, like these two would probably be for me and Arthur because that's my favorite color right there. I love this color and this teal color. These two are my absolute favorite colors. And then the grandkids like certain colors, and I just painted my son and daughter-in-law's just random colors. But this one with the holly on it that we did today, so cute, you guys. I absolutely love it. Love, love, love. I might shorten that just a little bit there. This varnish is not 100% cured, so I want to make sure I don't stick it underneath one of these other ones to get stuck to it, but the rest of them are cured and they look gorgeous. I love them. So much fun. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope you're going to grab some fun ornaments. Stencil is now on my website, so you can grab the fuzzy sweater stencil on my website and paint you up some fuzzy sweater ornaments. Have fun with it, you guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will see you on the next one. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and please leave a comment. Commenting, thumbs up, those are what helped me the most right here on YouTube. So I appreciate you guys, and I will see you all on the next one. Everybody, bye-bye.